Welcome. Caesar Place right over here. I'm going to be reviewing, as you can tell from the title, JJK Season 3, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, which was phenomenal. That's the condensed opinion of what I'm about to talk about. I hope I don't make this video too long. Uh, yeah, Season 3, phenomenal. Not even gonna front, not even gonna lie. I knew standards were high when I watched the Resident movie in theaters when it aired at the very beginning, and I knew that Mappa was gonna kill it. I just didn't know how, because at first the Shibuya incident, highly regarded by me as one of my favorite arcs in JJK. To me, that was the game changer, and at first I was very skeptical about the culling game arc when I was reading it, at first I was like, oh no, this is actually fun, but I still had my preference towards the Shibuya incident arc, and even now I still hold a tiny bit up above it, above the culling games arc, but that's purely out of nostalgia and bias, because like the Culling Games arc, like the way Mappa handled it, at least the first part of it so far, it was great. Talking about Chainsaw Man Rezi arc movie, when I saw the trailers for the JJK first two episodes screaming in theaters, I was I really wanted to watch it. I didn't get to. I regret not being able to, but it just, life happens sometimes. So I didn't get the opportunity to watch it in IMAX, and I was being super stubborn. I wanted to watch it in IMAX, and by the time that I finally made time to do it, it was just screening in regular theaters, regular uh, halls. So as soon as they started airing here weekly, not even in my monitors, I put that up on my TV and turn on the lights off, grab some popcorn, and enjoyed myself, because this, this season picks off right after the quote unquote right after the incident from last season, the Shibuya incident, where Gojo got sealed, um, Geto's body is being consumed by Kenjaku, Kenny, and now Yuji's, because of what happened when Sukuna got out and did the massed slaughtering of these people, Shibuya, Yuji is considered a threat and an enemy of the higher ups in the sorcerers. The sorcerers also considered Gojo a traitor because his relationship with Geto, and the higher ups not knowing that Geto is being taken over by Kenjaku, they they said that Gojo was in a conspiracy and he let Geto live on purpose in JJK movie O, chapter O. So Gojo purposely helped Geto to get away so that this could all happen. That was the story they were going with. So Yuji's enemy of the state. That's the gist of it. Start off the season with like an excellent, beautifully fight. Hold up. Yeah, excellent, beautiful fight. I have my notes here. Sorry. Yuji and Shoso versus Yuta, and oh yeah, wow. Um, the fights again. You knew Ish was real when the way Yuta pops up, and I love Yuta. Like I stand Yuta. He's like my favorite character. I know some people like are upset about how Marisuhi can be, but like no, I love him. I love him being an overpowered, sincere, almost kind of clueless sometimes the way he talks. Um, and I also love Maki. That's why I like the ideal pairing, and I love both of them so much. And just to see the reaction to people seeing like Yuta being back, and the way he was handled, and the way he fought Yuji, and the fact that yeah, Yuta could have won. This is very simple. He held our protagonist was lucky that Yuta was on his side. Like I don't think they. I guess they could have always grabbed an ass pulled themselves out of the situation, but Utah showing how real anime protagonist gotta be. Now the Choso and Aoya fight, don't get me wrong, I loved it too. Like we got our meme from it too. Like Noah just flexing a little bit with his hair while he was doing the fighting. The hand-to-hand combat was excellent. I was I didn't know how to feel about it at first when I watched the fight because you see Naoya moving so fast that the animation gets like pulled out of proportions, like distorted the image in front of you. But after a couple of rewatches, like I've come to appreciate and love it more, just because it's how we're seeing, like the fact that it's purposely done that you cannot perceive 100% what's in front of you because of the speed and because of how everything's going, how fast everything's going. So I love that, thinking, giving it that reason. Um, Now, we did get our little episode of like the culling game rules being explained. Um, that whole episode was fine. I thought it was very beautiful as well, animation wise, and I loved how they were choosing to display the rules, and the way Tengen was animated, the way voice actor didn't expect, actually is a very calming voice. I love the voice actor for Tengen, and just the display of the rules as he's explaining everything, the animations that are going all around it. Like, yeah, I think it was super super well done for what it was, and we needed to get it out the way. Like I read the manga, like we needed to get that explanation all out the way. So it was, if they were gonna do it any other way, like it was, this is the way they should have done it. So I'm happy they went with the route that they did, and I'm glad that they kept it to one episode. Uh, the Maki versus the Zenin clan. Wow. Again, that was another one of those episodes, because I read the manga, so like I'm freaking out. I'm planning out right now just because I was so excited to see that. Because I love Maki, and when I read the manga, I knew this was gonna get real, and I couldn't wait to see what was gonna happen. So I mentally prepared myself. Like again, my setup over here with the TV, lights off, grab some popcorn, uh, and and just seeing all the Kill Bill references too, because I love Quentin Tarantino's movies directing. Um, and a lot of his movies I really really love. So I picked up on it right away. This is all like a Quentin Tarantino reference with other little things, hints here and there of other animations. I will say that I didn't expect certain things to go the way they did, because for some reason I felt that it was the tone that I felt was being set in the manga felt more like dark and gritty, and this felt like fun, to put it in a way like that. The way it was just Maki like speed running the Zenin clan bosses, and it's kind of crazy to me how this starts off with like Maki, the shot of like the Zenin hideout, Maki walking in, and then the final shot is basically like her walking out. Like it's, and obviously her losing her sister, Mai, that was touching. I felt like I don't know, like I think this is a incorrect phrasing, but I felt that the episode, that sequence was drawn out a little bit long, but it maybe it was all just in my head. Maybe it just felt longer because it was a slower moment in the episode where everything else was just going super fast. And I know a lot of people give ish to to Jinishi, but my God, I don't know why I just love his power and how it was displayed. Like him just, oh, it's such a good shot, man. Like from a director's and animation point of view, just him walking towards Maki as she's being held down by Ranta. And Ranta's technique is super crazy. I love it. It sucks that he was a genuinely good guy, but just was in the wrong side of history, I guess, because in the manga, he's, for those that don't know, he's basically described as a genuinely good kid that has a lot of potential and wanted to change the Senin clan for the better. So he had a good heart. He just defended. He was at the wrong side, the wrong team, um, and just Jinichi coming back from coming towards Maki as Ranta's behind him, holding Maki down with his ability, and just the jump in the air and just the fists, all these fists coming from the sky. Such a beautiful animation. I love that part so much. Um, The Naoya fight again, super crazy. I love, and this has been pointed out already in the past, but I love how uh, Naoya's frame animation technique, how it's made based on like modern animation, while his his father, I believe it was Naobito, right? I'm sorry if I'm Naobito. Yeah, Naobito, and Naobito's technique, which now inherited, was based more on like the classical paper drawn animation style, while now it's made more like um, digital animation style. I love that. I love that little detail. I'm not sure. I don't remember if it was really described in the manga as like that as well, or displayed in the manga like that. But it, and on screen it was very clear that that's what it was. Now, um, the episode after that, which again I also felt like caught me super off guard, was I knew that was gonna happen, but seeing it animated with music and voice acting took it up to a whole other level, and that was Yaga's backstory. Um, you watched the season, that's why you're watching this show, but this episode, this video, sorry, but you already know that Yaga basically was considered a traitor as well because he defended Gojo, and he also the higher ups wanted to know how his curse technique worked because he could technically give life to puppets, and that could be a problem. They wanted to know how he did it so that they knew that, all right, this is how we can handle this. But Yaga refused to give up that information. And just the beginning of that episode and the backstory of how he was basically giving Kuzukabe's sister a puppet with a soul that resembles her son who passed away, and the sister basically going through a complete horrible case of depression to the point where she barely wanted to interact with anything and or talk, and seeing the puppet react the same way her son did, and her giving these memories and reacting to it, that was just so heartbreaking. And it just gives you like character trait of Yaga and why he was doing it, of like the type of person that he is or was, and Kusakabe as well, because he's grateful and he doesn't hold anything against Yaga. And that explains also why he was so, in my opinion, I think that explains why he was so cool with Panda as well in season two, because Panda is a creation of Yaga and he respects the man. So, um, so I'm just trying to look through my notes real quick. We also get in this episode the introduction to Hikari, which is voiced by none other than Soro's voice actor, which is great because I hear Soro all the time and I love Hikari too, so he's super cool. Perfect ending of that episode. The still shot, and I know a lot of people have said this already, but the still shot from like the almost like the security camera look of the room where Yuji and Hakari are talking, and the tension that's built upon that conversation without any movement of the camera, just one shot uh, conversation, and the little details of like the phone going off and Juji messing up, and well, the sequence is the phone went off because Kirara warned Hakari like, "Hey, be careful with these people," and Hakari knowing right away, all right, now let me test this guy. Let me ask a question. Like, did you know that Gojo doesn't really drink? And Juji's dumbass saying like, "Who's Gojo?" I'm like, "Oh, that's funny." And just it felt so raw, the animation, just the way Hakari threw the glass at Yuji, like it felt so like vintage, the feel and look. That's what I meant to say. So the Kirara fight, super super cool, super super fun as well. More fun in the animation than in the manga, in my opinion. I didn't remember too much from it in the manga, but seeing it animated, like I have a lot of still frames of sequences from this episode I still remember. Now, the next couple episodes obviously is the real start of the culling games. Yuji Hikari, Megumi, and Yuta. Megumi and Yuta. They all enter the colonies. I'm not gonna go into the rules of how that all works. Usually, fighting those father enemies, like the helicopter dude and the airship hair girl, like that was memorable. That was super well, and it was super tense too. I loved it. Usually fighting Higuruma, excellent, excellent display. The revelation that the way, again, you've watched the show, you know how it works. Higuruma's techniques work. Um, the fact that he has like this judge CT, and the idea that that Yuji, that we find out that Yuji really feels guilty and that he considers himself to blame for the deaths that happen in Shibuya, even though that Higuruma accepts and understands and knows that it wasn't really him. It was like, oh, he knows that there's evidence that for him, that there's evidence that it was Sukuna who unintentionally took over, so Yuji didn't really do it intentionally, but he still feels guilty. He still feels like he's the one that did it. And the fight scene, like, oh man, that episode was those episodes, 2 episodes were super cool. But then, like, and I'm skimming through these episodes right now just because of how good the season was and how good all these episodes were, borderline individually. Um, Fushiguro versus Megumi versus Reggie, like the first kill that Megumi does was so cold, and people have spoken about it as already. I will talk about it as well. Him jumping off the building with the guy beneath him, smacking him with like the knife with the sword, and then just splitting his skull in half is so good. Um, it made that sequence more memorable for me. That character more memorable for me. Um, the Reggie fight was again amazing. Uh, the 1 minute of hand-to-hand combat that we got with the divine dog just popping out of nowhere and just finishing the fight, super memorable, super cool. The Takaba introduction was amazing. Takaba is so cool as a character, as a gag character. The idea that he has one of the most broken curse techniques and he doesn't even know how to use it or realize it, but he's literally immortal. That's what it is. Technically, while his curse technique is still in play, it's just so good. And his interactions, it reminded me very much of like a Deadpool character, a joke jester character, but it works so well within the context of this series and this arc as well. But because I'm already in 18 minutes and I've been dragging on about this season so much, I really want to talk about. I really want to talk about the final episode because Yuta is the goat. Yuta is just the goat. Uh, the Yuta versus the Roach demon, like it's demon, the Roach curse, great, fast paced, beautifully animated. Like this whole episode was beautifully animated. I wrote on my notes Yuta is the goat. I have to say that again just because my notes say so. Yuta versus Uro and Fujiwara. Sorry, Yuta versus Uro and being a Fujiwara descendant, which was kind of spoken about in the past, I believe, when Gojo and Yuta, like after movie O, I think he brought something up around that topic. I had to press pause to read the description in regards to what the actual issue was when they do like the text on the screen. That happens super fast and you have to read it fast. And understanding the backstory, you can understand why Uro hates the Fujiwara, this lineage so much, and why she would have been pissed off if Yuta is from that descendant from that family. Um, Ishigori entering the fight, like again, our Pompadour curse technique user, he was super good. I don't know what to say about this episode because there's so much cool stuff happening, and so much good fighting, so much good animation, so much good music. Around the 11 minute and 36 second mark, when Ishigori and Yuta are fighting each other, there's a moment where I felt, and this was kind of funny to me, that the music resembled a little bit JoJo's Bizarre Adventure music, which again, Ishigori X Yosuke, you guys can put those that two and two together with that. If you listen to it, I felt like I was almost watching a little bit of a JoJo battle, and it's kind of funny because Yuta using Rika is almost like a stand. So um, we get the just chaos everywhere. That's what's really happening. I do have to point something out though, because I feel like this is becoming a big misunderstanding among people that even read the manga and who just watch the show as well. That what's going on with Yuta's and Rika's technique. People are saying like, oh, like why does Yuta need to eat a part of somebody now to use Rika? And why can't he just why is he so broken? Why does he have a time limit now? Why does this and that? And people are not understanding that. From my understanding and from the multiple things that I've read, at least, a movie is Yuta JJK movie O Yuta is different than the JJK Yuta that we have in the series right now. So yes, he's technically stronger because he is more experienced, but curse techniques wise, I believe that Rika was originally an actual curse in the movie, placed upon Yuta, that Yuta placed upon himself. Um, and once he came to accept and forgave himself and for what happened, I think she was able to pass on. So that Rika is no longer here. The Rika that Yuta has right now, that's his actual curse technique. It's not like the soul of Rika anymore, a curse of Rika anymore. So just like Yuta's technique is copy, I think his base technique is that is his base technique from my understanding. And this Rika that we're getting right now with a 5 minute limit, uh, I think this is a copy of what used to be the soul of Rika, the curse of Rika that he had before in the JJK movie. Oh, that's from my understanding, and hopefully that makes somewhat sense. So they're not on the same level. I think that if he still had that previous Rika, like he would have been overly broken. I think the 5 minute limit is good to give Yuta. It makes it more interesting for the fights. Um, Little details in this episode again that I love. Like there's a moment where Ishigori and Yuta are fighting, and Ishigori uses his beam curse technique, and he makes like a circle around himself, but it's not like a full circle. Like there's a little gap, and just it's for me as someone who loves animation. Just I love seeing the frame of like Yuta reading how fast that beam is going and just slipping in between the crack just so that he can do a one-on-one fight with Shigori. That was a nice little detail that I absolutely love. I love when Rika just lost it when uh, Yuta is fighting Uro and Rika at the same time. Oh, sorry, Rika and Yuta are fighting Uro at the same time, and Rika tries to punch Uro, but then Uro uses her air manipulation to like kind of swing the fist against Yuta, and just Rika losing it, like going mad. I love that. 10 icebreakers seems like a super broken technique. I read in the comments and a couple other videos and reviewers also saying like, yeah, no, Uro needed to be taken out first. Like she was the biggest problem in that fight because she was just messing around with like the space of everything, turning turning parking lots into like fake papers and just like kind of flinging them around, manipulating space. She was like that. And if you ever play Smash Brothers, she'll be like in like team battles or whatever. She'll be like the one extra character that's just kind of messing with your flow of a fight. That's what she was doing. She was messing. She was adding more chaos than necessary to the fight. Um, three-way domain expansion was sick. Obviously, Rose Spirit intervening, and then just Uro and the Rose Spirit being taken out after that, and Yuta versus Ishigori fight, the one-on-one, is just, it was so phenomenal. Like, you get the OP being played while the fight's happening, and the revelation that is so cool because it's kind of a little bit out of character for me to see Yuta, that when they were gonna give their last final beam right before Rika disappeared due to time limit, Yuta was originally going to throw out all his curse technique energy out to him before Ishigori did his, because his is more powerful than Yuta. So kind of like a gun duel between two cowboys. Yuta wanted to go first, but then Yuta seeing Ishigori's face and seeing how much he was enjoying this, enjoying the fight, and Yuta going along with it and said, "All right, no, I'll play along." Like, I think he said his heart. I forgot what the translation was in the anime, but something about his heart opened up towards his heart melted when seeing Ishigori's face and his appreciation for the fight, and the tag and the planning that Yuta had by using Oro's technique to throw one of his most powerful beams up in the air, fighting Ishigori, and right before the 5 minute mark disappeared for Yuta, to bring that down before that, and the beam back down. The planning was just, it just shows how far Yuta has come, and I love that. Um, yeah, I really love this episode. How long have I been talking about this episode? um, there's a lot of stuff that I guess I didn't cover as well about this season. I think we also got the revelation that Kenjaku is technically Yuji's mom. Yeah. I love the little sequence when Kenjaku also is like taking the people who don't want to partake in the cool games out of the domain, out of the space. Um, and out of the colonies. And you have this one moment where he comes across one of Yuji's friends, a girl, I forgot her name, and he's walking with her, and it seems very peaceful, very angelic almost, where he's just walking with her, and then, but she doesn't see what's going around her. But we, as the viewers, we see that there's just a bunch of curses all around. It was so cool to just interpreting that, and Kenjaku thanking her for, like, hey, thank you for being friends with my son, and like, that's nice, I guess. um, the season was great, as you could tell. I really love season three, JJK season three. With our, I think it's definitely up there to having the replayability that the season two had as well for me. I think I would definitely rewatch a lot of these episodes over and over again. I want to give this season a strong 9 out of 10, and this is only part one because part two is supposed to, there's no part two apparently. But if you from a arc perspective, this is technically part one. Part two is supposed to come out later next year, from if I'm not understanding. But technically, they're not calling that part two; they're calling that season four. Yeah, I hope I'm making sense by saying that. But it's technically one arc, one long arc, and I still give the Shibuya incident a little bit of a higher grade, simply because, maybe by 0.1, simply because that was an arc that was concluded and happened, and again, phenomenal. And also the Sukuna fight versus what was the the character's name again? 1 second. Um, okay. Jogo, that's all these names can't look sound alike. So Sukuna versus Jogo, the fight that was animated, got an animation update as well on Crunchyroll, if I'm not mistaken. So it's nice to see that we get a slightly more finished version than what we got originally. Still not the original concept from what the animators wanted to do originally, which really sucks, because that I think that fight would have been one of the best shonen fights ever. Period. Um, that aside, the opening is a banger. Is one of my favorite JJK openings. And I feel like JJK has only had good openings so far. None of them that I didn't dislike. The ending song was also really, really good. It had like a nice build. It has like a nice build up in the animation for itself. It's itself. It's like super nice and tranquil. I feel so. Um, but yeah, season three, amazing. I loved it. Please put in the comments down below what you thought of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. What little moments did you appreciate that I didn't talk about? There was a lot going on. I don't want to drag this video on for like an hour. Uh, Tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what your personal favorite moments. What's your favorite character so far? What do you think of Kari? Um, the Beast, so Kari, is super cool. Uh, Yuta, our boy, Maki, jeez. Uh, but yeah, please subscribe to the channel, hit a like down below, and if you can, also subscribe to my Twitch channel. I'm hoping to stream some PS5 games soon and some Nintendo Switch, maybe Shin Megami Tensei 5. I would love to continue that stream at some point. So I'll see you guys around. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day. Bye.